Hi, my name is Ellen Reeder, and I am going to present to you a paper that I wrote over the causes of school safety issues and what educators can do about it. I have found through research while doing this paper that there are so many issues that cause school safety problems that endanger our students, and that educators and parents and administrators really need to fix in order to ensure the safety of our students. I found that school safety is a recurring issue in many of today's schools, and from the research that I gathered during this study, it has been concluded that school safety is a very prevalent issue for our times. As many of you probably know, there have been many school shootings that have caused the deaths and injuries of many students all over America. In fact, Every Town for Gun Safety, which is a movement of Americans working together to end gun violence, stated that since the 2012 shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, there have been at least 116 school shootings in America. And it included in these shootings were 54 colleges and 62 K-12 shootings. Obviously, as educators in elementary, we deal with the K-12 students, but that is still 62 shootings since the 2012 shooting of the Newtown, Connecticut school, which was a very, very sad situation. Considering the amount of school shootings, it is vital that there is a solution to the extreme problem. So throughout this research, I had two guided reading research questions that helped me continue to write this paper. My first one was, why is school safety such a prevalent issue in today's schools? So I'll be discussing why school safety is such a problem and what are the causes of school safety and how students are affected by it every day. And then my second guided research question was, what can parents, teachers, and administrators do in order to ensure the safety of students? So I'll begin with the history of school safety. Obviously, school shootings have not always been a problem. In fact, the origins of school safety, however you want to say it, started with just fires. Fire safety was a huge issue. There were many schools that did not have fire alarms or just fire actions in place if there was to be a fire. And over the past 150 years, most of the publicized school-based disasters were fire-related. The use of fire alarms and fire drills are common knowledge now, but at one point they were not. And in fact, many had difficulties getting fire alarms and fire drills implemented into schools. So I did find research saying in the History of School and Safety and Psychological First Aid for Children article that, this is a quote from them, that said, considering past difficulties in implementing fire drills standards, similar difficulties should be anticipated as schools nationwide respond to legislative mandates stipulating crisis intervention protocols. And that basically is saying that since they had so much trouble getting implementations for fire drills and fire procedures, that it is guessed that there will be problems trying to get drills implemented for school shootings and school disasters such as those. 50 years ago, the main disciplinary problems were running in the halls, talking out of turn, and chewing gum. And now our disciplinary problems include kids bringing knives and guns to school, and students shooting schools whenever they're depressed or sad, or they're being bullied at school. And so that's what we're going to talk about right now, is what are the causes of school safety issues. The Constitutional Rights Foundation stated that school violence arises from a layering of causes and risk factors that include access to weapons, media violence, cyber abuse, the impact of school, community, and family environments, personal alienation, and more. So the access to violence, the media, and family problems at home are all reasons that students are bringing guns into the schools. And sometimes it's not even students, sometimes it's older people that are bringing guns into the schools that threaten the lives of others. But regardless, family environments, the media, and access to guns to anybody cause the problems of school safety in our schools. So the availability of weapons to children under 18 is a great factor in the issue of the school violence. With easy access to weapons, students can just easily grab the gun, put it in their pocket, and take it to school. The very low numbers have metal detectors in the schools, especially in elementary schools. It's very rare. And so if a child sees his or her parent with guns in the home easily accessible, then it's okay, it seems, for a student to pick up a gun and bring it to school if they're prone to that. At the same time, if a parent shows that using guns responsibly is okay, then that's how they will see that. But if it's not being used responsibly by the parents, and the students will see that and take action as well. In the media is another huge issue. that students see media violence all the time. The Constitutional Rights Foundation also found that by the 7th grade, students have witnessed anywhere from 8,000 to 100,000 murders on television. So not only is violence prevalent in the television media, but also in video games. Many popular video games include students shooting each other or shooting the victim or just at war with others. And so that's a huge issue. If students go home and sit on the couch and watch TV or play video games at home the whole time dealing with violence, that's going to naturally make them more violent people because they are prone to that and open to that every day for hours and hours after school. So many popular games feature very realistic crimes, and that was stated by the Causes of School Violence in 2015. And in fact, the violence shown in PG-13 movies has more than tripled since the rating was introduced in the 1980s, and that was taken from facts related to school violence in 2015. So basically, when they created the PG-13 rating, it has tripled since then, the violence that has occurred, which movies that were created in the 80s for PG-13 movies our PG-13 now movies would be considered rated R back then, which is very sad because students are more open to watching PG-13 movies if they're allowed to watch those or if they're allowed to get in movie theaters to see those because they're not rated R. And so along with the easy access to weapons and media promoting violence, the Constitutional Rights Foundation also believes that negative environments can lead to student violence. Community environments, school environments, family environments all can lead to school violence. In fact, negative aspects of these environments can lead to violent acts at school. The Constitutional Rights Foundation specifically stated that immediate environments, including schools, communities, peer groups, and families, can exert a powerful influence in a young person's attitude and behaviors. And so in today's homes, there are more single-parent homes, higher percentages of teenage pregnancies, and higher chances of mental, physical, and sexual abuse in the home. So when children are immersed into those kinds of environments, they are more prone to be in a negative environment, which can make them more violent or make them act out. So a child who starts acting violently will often do so during periods of unstructured or unsupervised times, as stated by the Causes of School Violence in 2015. So if students are unsupervised or in unstructured environments in the community or at home, then they are more susceptible to acting out in violent ways. Consequently, if a child is left at home alone for extensive amounts of time with no structure, violence is more likely to happen. And if violence is more likely to happen in the home, it's more likely to happen in school. So these things are all results of students who practice violent acts in the school. And so after we've heard all these potential causes of school safety in the schools as related to media, easy access to weapons, and the environments that students are in, there are many things that teachers, parents, and administrators can do in order to ensure the safety of students. So there are many programs and organizations in specific districts and in the nation that work to improve the school safety of students. National organizations dedicate their time to keeping students safe in schools, have provided many resources all over the country. Some of the organizations include the National Association of School Safety and Law Enforcement Officials, the National School Safety Center, the National School Safety and Security Services, and many more. These programs each have resources that they give out to teachers and administrators in order to ensure the safety of students, and these resources may include seminars or networking stations in which parents and administrators and teachers can go in and understand how they can better keep their schools safe. And along with these organizations can also teach parents, teachers, and administrators how to create communities that ensure the safety of students. They can these programs, show parents, teachers, and administrators how to build communities and how to build they give training and technical assistance to schools and communities that need support in creating safe environments. So they can also show how the teachers and administrators can make committees, and these committees can ensure the safety of students. And these committees can be parents, teachers, and administrators, in which they come in, they create a plan, they create a drastic measures plan that can help keep students safe for when these things might happen. So many times in the past, if there has been a school shooting, many times the teachers and administrators have not been prepared. They have not been practicing their lockdown drills. They have not been practicing the things that they need to practice in order to keep the students safe. These committees need to be in place so that teachers and administrators know exactly what to do with the students, exactly when they need to do it with the students, and how they need to do it with the students in order to keep the children safe. These things can ensure the safety of the students rather than leaving them out in the open to be susceptible to these violent acts in the schools, and also to keep them safe in lockdown drills. That is another thing that I'll point on, is that drills. Teachers and administrators need to make sure that they keep up with the state standard of drills for fire drills, storm drills, and lockdown drills in the schools. These can all ensure the safety of the students. That if they practice it throughout the year like they're supposed to, then it can ensure the safety of the students when they're prepared. The National Association of School Safety and Law Enforcement has a mission that says they are devoted to safe learning environment for the K-12 education system. This one specifically provides tools and resources for teachers and administrators, such as professional development seminars, networking, and teaching best practices. Likewise, the National School Safety Center is also a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to conducting safety training classes across the United States. And they provide these to schools and communities that need support in creating safe environments. So if a school is struggling to figure out how to create these safe environments, then these programs can help give them seminars and professional development trainings that teachers and administrators can go to in order to ensure the safety of students through these things. Also, the National School Safety and Security Services is a national program that is based in Ohio. They provide school security assessments, school safety training, and emergency preparedness and violence prevention training, emergency planning and crisis responsive evaluations, and crisis communications planning. The program believes that proactive strategies are the keys to safe schools. So if teachers and administrators have proactive strategies to keep the school safe, then they will be safe, is what that is saying. And so all of these organizations wish to keep schools safe for students, teachers, and staff, and administrators have the opportunity to contact these programs, and in order to be a part of their training, they can sign up as either the whole group of teachers, or just single teachers can sign up to take these professional development courses. Along with that, professional development in education is a great thing to have ongoing for teachers and administrators, and so this is a great way for professional development to continue for teachers and administrators. Along with reaching out to national organizations, teachers and administrators can create safety programs within their own schools to promote safety. So instead of getting in contact with these national programs, they can create the committees within their own schools. And having a safety committee within the school can provide teachers and administrators the opportunity to review the safety policies and create new ones when necessary. Safety committees within schools can include many different people, such as parents, staff, school staff, administrators, and community workers. So those are all programs that can promote school safety, and separately, teachers and administrators can do other things in order to ensure the safety of students. They can assist in meeting the safety needs of children by putting procedures in place. Like I said earlier, if they have the procedures in place and they practice them throughout the year, if a real tragedy occurs, then the teachers and administrators are more available and are more likely to practice out these drills that they have in place with the students, because the students are more used to them. On Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, safety is placed on the second tier of the pyramid, which means that this directly after the sociological needs. Therefore, it's concluded that safety is very, very important to a children's success. Without meeting the safety needs, children are not able to move on to the higher tiers of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Therefore, it's very important that teachers and administrators keep children safe and help them feel safe, so that they can move on to higher levels of his pyramid. So the National Association of School Psychologists also provides a list of recommendations that teachers and administrators can take into action, and these recommendations include writing a letter to parents explaining the school safety policies, conduct formal reviews of the safety policies and procedures, connect with community responders, provide crisis training for staff, and review communication systems within the district. And that's meaning review communication with community service members, including firefighters, police officers in the school, and the politicians of the city or the county that the schools are in. And these things will ensure the safety of the students better than not having these things in place. And so, along with my second guided research question was, what can parents do to keep children safe in their schools? The main thing that we learned from what can parents do is establishing good communication with children is very important in knowing what is going on in their child's school. So simply a parent talking to their child after they get home from school, how was your day, who did you talk to, can open up the opportunities for children to share with their parents what happened at school and how things happened. And then if parents pick up on something that might not have been all that right or can be unsafe, then parents can look more into that. So open communication with parents and children is very important and can offer a lot of safety for your children. So also, kids need a safe and comfortable environment to learn in. So if students do not feel safe, then their ability to learn is hindered. So parents need to continually check up with the school, check up on their policies, check up on their drills that they have to make sure that they are doing these drills to make sure that their child is safe at school. Ken Trump, who is the president of the National School Safety and Security Services, created a list of 10 things that parents can do in order to ensure the safety for their children. One of the recommendations Trump makes is to examine access to the schools. Examining access to the school includes knowing whether or not the staff and faculty question strangers when they walk in the building, have sign-in procedures, and visitor badges. Another one is determining whether or not the school has some sort of safety plan or guide for all emergencies, including storms, fires, and lockdown drills. Parents can also check whether or not their child's school has a safety team, committee, or organization that is dedicated to the safety of their students. And also, if the parents discover that there is not one, then they can create one or talk to administration and try to get a committee into place. Along with doing much of the research that I just went over in the literature review of my paper, I also did some interviews with a couple students and a teacher over school safety. These interviews were great, and they provided a lot of personal information that was firsthand rather than through articles online. So I interviewed a high school student, a middle school student, and a middle school teacher. Throughout these interviews, I had different answers to different questions, and some that even contradicted with what I found in research. So you'll be able to hear some of the interviews that I had. So I did these the interviews with these specific candidates because I wanted to know more about high school school safety, and I wanted to know more about middle school school safety in the eyes of students and teachers. And so the first one that I did was with a high school student. While researching the issues of the school safety, I questioned a high school student native to East Texas. The student answered honestly and provided different insights on the issues of school safety. I asked her many questions, and we had good discussions, and some of the answers that she gave me even paralleled with the finding in the research, but some of them differed as well. When I asked if she felt safe at school, the student answered yes, that we have cops walking the halls at our school and even have a lady sitting in a building out front that stops cars whenever they're trying to get inside the building. Also, when I asked her if her parents had guns in the home, she replied yes, but that she did not even know where they were, and that her dad kept them well hidden, and that she has never felt threatened by them and never has thought to use them without permission. And that is one thing that contradicted with the research, is that although she didn't know where the guns were, she knows that they're not locked up, and also that she could easily access them if she wanted to find them, but she has never had the desire to use them. And that contradicted with what I found in the research, because research said that easy access to weapons makes kids more liable to use them, which it does, I'm sure, with some students, but with this specific student, the research contradicted that. The next thing was that I asked her if she had ever felt tempted to use her father's guns, and she replied absolutely not. So that was a direct quote from her. When I told her that there had been 116 other school shootings since the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting, she stated, "That scares me. It makes me think, are there any kids in my school who have thought about bringing a gun to school?" And when asked if she thinks about media violence, including video games and movies, if she thought that it affected children, causing them to be more violent, she responded, "Yes, I think that violence seen on TV really gets to people. I think it causes kids to want to do violent things even if they don't realize it." So those a couple things that I found. The research from her also paralleled with things that I found in my research literature review, but also contradicted. The interview with the middle school student was